Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's not true. It's evening. It's 4:48. That's cutting it close on afternoon. Welcome to my final, well, that sounds really morbid, response to community feedback before the big patch. Today is November 20th. I have been dying of the flu for a while. So if you're wondering why I haven't put up any videos or streamed in like a week, I was like sleeping 18 hours a day, and the other hours I was awake were really terrible. It was really bad. It was awful. I won't go into details, but believe me, I was not in a good place. So anyway, this is a response to community feedback. Blizzard, are you even trying? Is this a sign that Blizzard's cut back the development team of StarCraft 2? How did this happen? Who approved this? Was it the community manager, Rackle? Is it time? Is it time to fire this guy? I think so. I think so. Anyway, the final changes that have been announced. Congrats to Zest for winning the beta tournament. Oh, American people couldn't watch it because it was at 3 a.m. Big patch is going in this week. 22nd. That's 2 days from now. I'll post this video today, so it should be the 20th if you're watching this within the first 6 hours of it being released. And blah, 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 blah. So the last couple changes that they want to make are going to be Siege Tank getting 15 more health. I like it. I don't really know what exactly this affects. This will probably be biggest in Terran versus Terran. It'll make it even harder for Marines and Marauders to fix up the mech builds. So I don't mind it because I'm going to be building lots of tanks in the new patch. DT Blink research cost brought down. Yeah, I think they should try to make it so that the cooldown on the DT Blink is lower. Right now it's 21 seconds. It's just useless. You should still just get a Warp Prism instead. I mean, I think this is a good change, but there might have been some better changes they could make. Anyway, it's not the biggest deal. I think the DT Blink right now is extremely weak because it doesn't give you anything. It's not like there's a 2-for-1 deal where it's like, oh, you go DT Blink and then you have a transition. It's like there's no transition out of rushing DT Blink. There is a transition out of going DT Prism. You start Blink and you get observers, and you go Blink Stalker or whatever, or you get Charge and you get observers. The point is you don't die to a Widowmine drop or a Cloak Banshee, which will probably be pretty popular in this coming patch. Anyway, my point being, I still don't think that DT Blink is going to be seen that much. Cyclone range reduction plus range upgrade. So Cyclone's extremely flexible. We really haven't seen a lot of games played with it. So because of that, instead of toning down the other races stuff that also seems strong, we're only going to tone down the one Terran thing that seems strong. And we'll give you an upgrade so that you never build the Cyclone. Well, I'm very glad to see this, mostly because I don't like the Cyclone cheese. For reference, the Cyclone in the test map previously had 6 range. It's going to go into the game with 4 range instead, and an upgrade that gives it 6 range. So now not only is the Cyclone completely useless at killing air units, it will now also be completely useless at killing ground units. So I don't know why this unit's in the game. I'm going to say it again because I still believe they should keep the version of the Cyclone that was in the previous version of the game. We have seen a tremendous amount of Cyclone usage in the VSL, Pro League, GSL, BlizzCon. There was really awesome, cool usage of Cyclones in every tournament, especially in the last 2 months. And if you have watched Beyond Stream, Innovation Stream, Avalo, very popular streams, doesn't matter what you think of the people, my own stream, some of the great Cyclone games that I've been playing have been some of the most fun games of StarCraft that I've played in a while. This new Cyclone is boring, doesn't require a lot of APM to use, so it's very friendly for new players, but I already think that the direction the game is going in terms of less micro-intensive styles is already making that not as big of a problem as it was. That's my stance on it. That's my stance on these new updated changes that they've added. I wouldn't expect to see this new Cyclone used very much at all. Maybe there'll still be some really sick all-ins you can do with it, but this unit to be, what's the phrase? To put it into perspective, In the current version of StarCraft 2, if an Oracle flies into your base and you open up with a Cyclone...
New subscriber detected.
Thank you, Shint3630. If you open up with a Cyclone against a Oracle, your Cyclone can chase the Oracle and kill it. Sometimes the Oracle will get away, sometimes it won't. In the new version of the game, the Cyclone can lock on to an Oracle, attack for its full duration, and barely not kill it. The Cyclone damage against air units in this version of the game is so limited, especially since the Cyclone is having its speed reduced, in case you haven't read the previous patch notes. I really don't think that the Cyclone is in a good place, and I don't know why their first thought was to nerf it rather than just shift it to something else. But, oh well. That's my thoughts on this week's community feedback. If you guys aren't aware of all of the other changes coming, I'm going to briefly go over them again since the patch is coming out on this Tuesday. Of course, you can view the changes by going to the testing section under multiplayer in the StarCraft 2 client itself. So the Cyclone has its very, very fast, low damage attack. It attacks much faster, does a lot less damage, so its effective DPS is supposed to be higher against ground, and it has a new name for its weapon. And it's much slower. Lock-on can only target air units, and it's 160 damage over 14 seconds. For reference, the air units that you would want to kill with a Cyclone in your base, you would need a full 14 seconds to kill the Oracle, because its combined health, 60 plus 100, would take you 14 seconds. A Protoss player would have to sit in... This is not Blizzard time 14 seconds from Heart of the Swarm. A Protoss player would have to sit their Oracle in your base for 14 whole seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. I don't have to finish this. Same thing goes for a Prism. Actually, the Warp Prism is going to have 180 health. A full lock-on would not actually kill a Warp Prism from a Cyclone. You could have a Cyclone full lock on a Prism. By the way, this unit will move at the same speed in the new patch as the Cyclone because the Cyclone is having its speed reduced. The Oracle will now have, 5.6. So 5.6 versus 4.13. You're never going to kill an Oracle with the Cyclone ever again. Lock-on is not auto-cast, so you're not building Cyclones against them. And for reference, in other matchups, other units that you won't be able to kill anymore with a Cyclone lock-on include, obviously, the Oracle, Warp Prism. You won't be able to kill a Phoenix at all anymore. You won't be able to kill... you can still kill Raven. Need about 14 full seconds to do it. Same for a Banshee if it doesn't cloak or use its faster speed once you get the speed buff for it to run away. Kill Viking still. Won't be able to kill a Liberator anymore. You won't be able to kill a Medevac. It'll just boost away. It takes full 14 seconds to kill that as well. Obviously, you won't be able to kill anything like a battle cruiser or any flying things. You won't be able to kill a Broodlord anymore. You won't be able to kill a Muta. Muta should be able to get away pretty easily. It'll take like the full duration to kill it. You shouldn't be able to kill Vipers. They're one of the slowest air units Zerg has. You won't be able to kill Corruptors anymore. You won't be able to kill Overlords, Overseers. Both of these units can just fly in and out of your base. A full lock-on would not kill either one of these units. So, suffice it to say, things are going to get interesting, and the most important one, if you guys have ever been one base all in to buy a Protoss player, the extremely popular Pylon Rush into Oracle Void Ray, which, by the way, still happens a lot, you won't be able to deal with this with Cyclones anymore. Obviously, you won't be able to kill Void Ray with this because of Void Rays do insane damage versus Cyclones, and will no longer be able to be killed with the Cyclones anti-air. And that also goes for your Mothership Core, which can now survive a full lock-on duration of a Cyclone. For those of you guys who don't play Terran, this is not a balance complaint, more a situation change where one of the best ways to defend early aggression from builds like Pylon Rushes is a fast Cyclone. The Cyclone will no longer be an answer to these builds coming out. So to me, I think the changes for the Cyclone are great for lower level players that don't want to have units that need to micro. I completely understand those changes, but in every other scenario, it's a lot worse. Siege tanks getting a big damage buff. Can't be picked up by medevacs. Most of the rest of this stuff is pretty small, pretty normal. The Thor's getting better anti-air splash. Thor's gonna be really good against air units. Of course, you can't rush out of Thor, which is the problem for most of these early game scenarios. Liberator won't do bonus damage versus mutas. Banshees have an easier time getting the speed upgrade. It takes longer to get, but you don't need a fusion core for it. And Vikings do more damage against ground mechanical units. There's a lot of other changes. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see them here. If you want to just pause the video, I'll just scroll across it all. Here are the Zerg changes. Just get a look at it. The Ultralisk is getting nerfed. That's a big one to mention. It's only going to have 7 armor max now, so Marines will do double damage versus what they do in the live version of the game. And a lot of other changes. So there you guys go. That's today's response to community feedback. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you for the next one. Cheers.